is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 26 of the So Free Art podcast, which is a little podcast I do each week about art and things. And this week's going to be all about waking up early, which is something I just started doing, and it's been so exciting that I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. Like, for instance, by waking up early, it's helped me to get this show onto YouTube. So you can now listen to episodes of the podcast at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson. And I also created a little So Free Art podcast channel. So all the episodes will be in there. So that's this week's topic. But we also have the little art tip of the week, which is going to be a tip to do with pencil cases. But that'll be at the end of the show, where I'll also share another brief thing to do with lucid dreaming. But this week's going to be all about waking up early. And it's actually something I was thinking about doing. I've been thinking about doing it for a few weeks, because I had this feeling that it might be quite helpful for me to overcome this thing I've been struggling with of focus and trying to find balance between working and playing. So I've been thinking about doing it, but the thing is I already wake up at 3:45 in the morning so that I can do my automatic writing, and then I work as a cleaner and I have to be there for 5:30, so I already have to get up quite early. So I was thinking it's not really possible for me to wake up any earlier than that. But what happened was last week, Sean McCabe at seanwest.com, they put out a podcast which was about waking up early and the benefits of it. And it was like perfect timing. It was like a synchronicity. So I thought I would try to do it. And I thought if I wake up at 1:45 in the morning, I can still get 8 to 9 hours sleep. So I'm not going to be sacrificing sleep, which is very important to me. But I can wake up really early and see if this works for me. So I've done it now for 3 or 4 days, and so far it's like the best thing I've ever done. I still do my automatic writing as the first thing, but even that, one of the things with automatic writing, which is where you just, when you're still half asleep, you just write whatever's on your mind. You ask yourself questions and then you answer them, and you get lots of insights. The course that I learnt to do automatic writing on is at the Inspirational show, which I'll put links in the show notes. But on that course, they recommended that the last question you ask is called SMP, which stands for single-minded purpose. And what it is you ask yourself, basically, what is the most important thing that I need to do today? And then whatever that says, that's like your goal for the day, is to try to achieve that. And sometimes it might say something like, talk to a random stranger, something that's going to push you out of your fear, out of your comfort zone a little bit. But what I can also do now is I can combine that with what I'm going to achieve in the next 3 hours, and it helps me really go into the 3 hours a lot more focused. So even though I'm waking up 3 hours early, it hasn't actually affected anything that I'm doing. But the benefits so far have been quite amazing, because I'm just really pumped up at work. And then the benefit is as well, you know that when you're going home, you're not going home to a list of things to do. It's like I'm going home from work knowing that I'm going to be able to relax before going to bed. Whereas before, when I wasn't waking up early, I was coming home and then doing my drawing or working on the website. But what I noticed was that I wasn't anywhere near as focused, and also, I would set my alarm, and I would say when the alarm goes off, I have to stop to get ready to go to sleep and stuff. But I was noticing that I was so into what I was doing that I couldn't stop, and I kept turning the alarm off. And then this ended up with me, that actually impacted my sleep a lot more than waking up early does, which is quite funny, because I would have thought it would be the other way around. And that was one of the things that was causing me a lot of issues, really, was I felt like I can't do all this stuff I want to do and still get to sleep on time. But now I can, because the stuff I'm doing before bed is a lot more relaxing. So my mind isn't going through all the things I want to do, because like I've done them already ages ago. So it's just bringing a nice bit of balance, really. And even though you haven't, it feels like you've somehow magically found 3 hours extra in the day. I know that sounds a bit weird, but it just feels like you have a lot more time, because you do this 3 hours of focus, and then the rest of the day you can do whatever you want, sort of thing. So I've just been able to do a lot of stuff in only a few days, and it just really excites me for the future now, because it just feels like I've now got a block of time where I know that I'm going to be working on something that I want to be working on, whereas before it was more, I'll finish work and then I'll work out what I'm going to do. So this is just allowing for a lot more focus, really. Everything just seems to be a lot better. I've only been doing it for 4 days, so it'll be interesting what it's like in a couple of weeks' time, because maybe I will be really tired and it won't be so fun. But I have a feeling that it's going to be alright, because I don't know, it just feels really good, and it's such a simple thing to do. Just wake up a few hours earlier and have that dedicated to doing something that you want to do. And I just wanted to share that on the podcast, because I thought it was just really good. And that means it is time for this week's little art tip of the week. And this week's little tip is to have multiple pencil cases in all the places that you will need them. So an example is, say you go to art class and you also do a lot of sketching. Instead of just having one pencil case which you have to take around everywhere, the little tip is to create a bunch of pencil cases, each with the same set of tools in them, like the tools that you're always using. So in my one I have 4 different pencil cases, and each one has got a 2B, a 2H and a 4B pencil with a bunch of refills, an eraser, a kneaded eraser, an eraser pen with some refills, and then I've also got like some fine liners, and a couple of other bits like a couple coloured pencils and some charcoal pencils. So what it means is that in each of those pencil cases, they're all ready to go. So I've got one in my bag that I take to work, there's one in my art desk where I can sit and do my realistic pencil drawings, there's one by the side of my bed, so that if I'm in bed and I feel like sketching, I'll just quickly get to it, and there's also one in the bag that I take to art class. So the reason I think this is a really good thing to do is because when you go to art class, you can just pick up your bag and go. You don't have to wonder if you've got the right pencil case. You don't have to go searching for stuff, and you also know that you're going to have everything you need because you've already packed it. So it just makes it a lot easier to get into drawing, because you've got everything you need in the places you're going to need them. And having one in the bag that you take to work and stuff, like what I said before about always having a sketchbook, that sort of fits in with this. So this week's little art tip of the week is to create a bunch of pencil cases and put them in all the places you're going to need them, so that you've always got the things you need to get into your drawings quickly. And that's this week's little art tip of the week. The final thing that I wanted to talk about was a couple of lucid dreams I had. One of them is I just found it really fascinating, and the other one was just a bit funny. So the first one was a couple nights ago. I was in a dream and I could hear a cat meowing outside the window, but I feel like I was in some sort of sleep paralysis, because I was trying to move to look out the window but I couldn't, and I was aware that I was dreaming, but then I woke up, but there was this lady there, and I still thought I was fully awake, and this lady was interviewing me about the dream I just had, asking me questions and taking notes. And I said, I've just heard a cat meowing outside the window, and she started laughing, saying, I haven't heard any cats. And I still thought that I'd just woken up. I didn't realise I was dreaming. And then she walked over to my light switch, and she said, shall I hit the light switch? And I said, yeah, that would be good, because if the lights don't come on, that means I'm dreaming. Because one of my reality checks is the light switches, because in dreams, light switches don't seem to work. So what I do is, if I can hit a light switch in a dream, that's how I can tell if I'm dreaming or not. But I obviously hadn't realised I was dreaming. So what happened was this dream character hit the light switch, and she basically made me become aware that I was dreaming. And she hit the light switch and the lights didn't work, and I said, the lights aren't working, so I must be dreaming. But I just found it amazing that a dream character was the thing that brought me into awareness. And the thing is, I became aware that I was dreaming, and then I woke up, which keeps happening, and that's the thing I'm struggling with at the moment, is trying to stabilise my dream, my lucid dream. But I woke up from that really excited, because I thought it felt a bit like I had a helper in the dream, like helping me become lucid. So I found that really fascinating, because I never really knew that was sort of a thing that was possible. And then the other thing was, I won't talk about the dream because it's a bit of a weird dream. I don't really know how to talk about the dream. It's to do with poo. So I won't talk about the dream, but it was so funny. It was so funny that I woke up laughing, and I woke up and the first thing I do is start writing my dreams down. So I started writing this dream down, and it was so funny that I couldn't stop laughing, and I was laughing so much I couldn't actually write the dream out. And I've never had that happen before. I was lying in bed for about 5 minutes trying to write this dream down, and I couldn't, and I was getting a little bit, because what I've noticed is if you don't write the dream down straight away, it can start to sort of fade away. So there's part of me is like, please stop laughing, because I want to get this dream written down. But that was making me laugh even more. And then when I started thinking about this dream, like later on, because I spent all day laughing, even thinking about the dream, I've never laughed so much. Well, I thought I haven't laughed this much in years, and I feel a bit like that's what the point of the dream was. It was almost as if it was trying to say to me, you need to sort of, you need to laugh more, really. So it was a really funny dream, a really funny experience, and it sort of had a nice message with it as well. It made me realise that I haven't laughed like that in a long time. So, I don't know, there was definitely something in that dream. Again, I just thought that was fascinating, how you could wake up from a dream and be hit with this like uncontrollable laughter. So that's just a couple of little dreams I've had this week. And I haven't been able to, because I've been trying to see my dad in a dream, because I'm trying to work on something with my dad. But I feel like there's just a lot of fear around that, because it's just, there's a lot of fear there, so I don't really know what to do with that. At the moment I'm just trying to work out what to do with that. But I feel like the dreams I spoke about a couple of weeks ago with the strangling with my mum and stuff, I feel like whatever I did in those dreams, it seems to have sort of maybe it's even, you could say it's sort of healed whatever that was, because I haven't really felt the need to go back to that anymore. I feel like I've moved on from it, so I definitely feel like whatever happened in those healing dreams it definitely did something. So that's nice, and I'm hoping that I can do the same with this other issue I'm trying to work out. But this one's proving to be a lot harder, and I didn't realise. And what really helps, again, is this automatic writing, because like in the morning I can wake up, and if I've had some scary dreams or dreams with fear things, because I've noticed that trying to deal with this thing with my dad, I've started becoming quite violent in my dreams, like hitting people and stuff. And I never thought that was inside of me. But it's nice to realise that that is inside of me, because that obviously means that there's obviously something like deep inside of me that is aggressive, I guess, and I didn't realise. So I'm working through that one slowly, and this automatic writing is really good because I can sort of try to work out what's going on. So I can have the dream, and maybe I'll do something in the dream that I'm not proud of, like hit somebody. But then I can write about it in the automatic writing and start making sense of it. And then the next day I can go back into the dream and sort of try to use what I've learnt. So it's just this like gradual thing of trying to understand what the dream is telling me, and then trying to take that knowledge into the next dream. And I think in the end it will work, but it's very slow, and like I say, at the moment I'm a bit confused about what to do. And that's it really for this week's show. You can find me at sophielawson.com, and if you want to send an email or anything, you can do that at sophie@sophielawson.com. And this week's inspirational quote goes to Valery, and it is: "The best way to make your dreams come true is to wake up." Valery.